Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking About the Big Stuff podcast with Michael Cole and Matthew Cravat. I am Michael Cole.
And I am Matthew Cravat.
So, Matthew, we're going to be talking tonight about when the big moments are over.
Oh, post nut clarity. I'm all about it. That's what you mean, right?
That's not what I mean.
That's not what you mean. You may need to explain what you mean then for the audience, of course,
Yes.
because I know exactly what you don't mean when you don't say that.
Yeah. So, I don't remember what exactly it was that made me think of this. And actually, Matthew, this is going to be one of the rare things where it's going to apply less to you than it does to me and Alex.
Because I haven't had any big moments in my life. I understand. I'm not arguing.
No, because Alex and I are at that age where most of life's big moments have passed, and
And I'm at the age where I can't even remember them.
You're at the age when you're going to start having a new set of big moments, retirement, potentially grandchildren. You're at that age, so you're on the other end of the spectrum. But Alex and I are in the thick of it, where it's like, all right, we everybody's married. Everybody's got the kids that they're gonna have to some extent. Like it feels like for a little while, from about 18 to maybe 30ish, or depending on how life goes, you have a series of graduate high school, graduate college, try to get your dream job, get your first job, get your first apartment, get married, have kids, and like it seems like every year or two or three there's some big thing happening in your life. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, no, like we own a house, we have our kid, we're married, we've got all the degrees we're going to get, we're in, hopefully they'll be.
Yeah, I did all that in 1 year.
Yeah.
So like I celebrated my 5 year anniversary at the company that I was working at, and or let's see, that, yeah, 5 year wedding anniversary, and then it was my 3 years of my company, and I realized this was a career, not a job, and bought our first house and got our mortgage, and Jacob, our first son, was born, and I turned 30 all the same year.
Oh, nice.
It was just like 30 hit me so hard because all those things had just happened on the way to 30 because my birthday's at the end of the year. So all these things that happened during the year, 30 hit me like a freight train.
Yeah. So I turned 30 2 weeks before I got married, so similar, but and then obviously we had Logan almost 2 years later, but yeah, 30 does seem to be like a big point in that trajectory. I'm going to be 40 at the end of the summer. I still kind of hoping for one more kid. There's I would love to make Chocolate Diamond Media my full-time job. But I think that a lot of my like big moments have passed, and so it's not, I don't get depressed thinking about it, but it feels like the excitement is gone to a certain extent, and it feels like, oh nope, this is just what we do now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how it was when I turned 30. It was like realizing I'm in my job. That's going to be my job for the next 15 years, whatever it was. And I got a kid now, and I've got a mortgage now.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we talked about that pretty good.
So how old are you now?
I'm gonna be 40 at the end of the summer.
I mean, you could look at your opportunities for doing greatness. So if you look at Mozart, by the time Mozart turned 40, he had been dead 5 years.
It's not so much that I am worried about accomplishments at this point. It's not that side of things. It's
am I now in the rut that is now going to be the next 20 years of my life?
Yeah, no, but like I think that even if like let's say we make a movie in the next year, and we make a ton of money, and then maybe I get nominated for an Oscar, or like there's things that can happen, but that I guess but they're not necessarily natural parts of the process at this point. My it's just those exciting things of like, oh, I'm graduating, and like the newness is gone. You know, the newness of life is gone.
So I have a question. You are more educated than I am formally. That that's germane to the question. When you got your master's degree,
Yeah,
what was your next day's feeling about it? Like you spent all that time and all that energy, and then this new passion to get the master's. After you got that achievement, how did you feel?
I don't remember. The reason I don't remember is I had
So
a
fucking drunk. I'm sorry.
no, I had a 7 month old, and I had been laid off for about 2 months by the time I graduated, and I didn't go to a graduation ceremony for my master's because it was a remote learning situation. So
Yeah, I think about how much we tie up sometimes expectations of this is what I'm going to do because, and I think
hmm
your master's is a little different than a lot of people's because I don't think you had tied my future career is tied to this master's as much as you wanted to go back and learn more and do more. So you went and got
yeah, it was. I was driving
I'm
Sarah
bored. I might as
crazy.
well, might as well get a master's.
Sarah's like, take a fucking class or something, and it became a master's. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think so often people tie up so much into an event. And
yeah,
at that, and then after the event, it's like, oh, that didn't change anything. I'm still
yeah.
me. My life is still my life. And it's one of the things that when, I'll go way back. When my husband and I were planning our wedding,
hmm
one of our like mantras was the wedding is just the first day of our marriage.
Yeah.
Like, don't get tied up with everything has to be perfect and everything has to be go off right. And it's a dream day because it might not. Then you've ruined everything that you had high hopes. But even if it's perfect, it's still just day one. It's not. That's the entry
Yes.
point. It's not the goal. And I think a lot
Yeah.
of goals are like that. And people, well, a lot because we don't realize it. Like really, when I graduate college, when I get my master, when I get my job, and then you're like, oh, that's just a milestone on the path. It's not in any way an endpoint.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And I will say that I'm guilty of sometimes putting emphasis on those milestones, but I also reckon like marriage specifically, and I've said this to a lot of people that I know. Like, do you want to get married or do you want to have a wedding? And like, so
Hmm.
I recognize that there's a difference in there, and I don't remember having this feeling with the marriage. I think it's or with the wedding because the marriage isn't over, the wedding is over.
Well,
uh,
Sarah wanted me to talk to you.
that'd be the most fucked up way,
Is
except
there's a reason that she asked that I make the topic this week after the big moment. Uh,
yeah. So, but I think it's when you see the series of them and you're like, oh, when you think about those big life things, you're like, okay, I've run through most of those.
yeah, yeah. I was like say 30 hit me like a freight
Yep.
train because it was a bunch of those. Just I have been married 5 years. I have a child. I have a mortgage. I have a career. Oh crap! This is all happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um.
And you know what fixed it for me? A really hot
Cocaine.
stripper when we said it was my 30th birthday, saying, "Oh, I'm 31," and I'm like, "Well, but you're super hot. Maybe being 30 is not so bad."
Yeah.
And you know what sent me right back to despair again? We left the strip club and went to see Rocky Horror Picture Show. And when all the like, I hope college age, God, I hope college age, girls are running around in their underwear for the underwear run, all I could think was somebody get a blanket and cover these children up. And I never felt so old in my life.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had that problem. It's not. I don't even know that I'm having a problem. I don't think this came out from me being like, oh, I just think I recognized it, and like, there's a lot of it where I'm happy. Like, I don't like going. Considering I'm trying to pitch, make doing wedding videos as a means of making money. This is going to sound bad, but I don't like going to weddings. So like, and I think part of that is like I don't like I don't mind a wedding when I don't know anybody there as much, but when you know people,
Yeah, it's
there's
depressing
this
that people just ruin their lives like that.
no, it's just this weird like social status thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, I gotta, I need to. I spent $300 on this dress, and it's ugly, and I am, spent 50, 2,500 bucks on the bachelor party," and you're like, everybody just kind of is a
And it's
mess. So
over,
like,
right? It's a huge
right,
thing, and that's
yeah.
flash in the pan.
And so like the fact that I'm largely past the wedding uh section, not just my wedding, but going to like friends' weddings, then I'm largely over that.
So then you'd
It's
be
a good
going to
thing.
people's catered divorces and then second weddings.
Yeah. Oh, I've been to a couple second
Yeah.
weddings. Um, but also I've got like my cousins are a lot younger than me, so there's a chance that that cycle will start soon.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
funny because
I
you
did.
started this off by saying, "Oh, I'm in the second realm of things coming up." Like I was like, "When was my last wedding?" "Oh, my niece's wedding." "Oh yeah, I'm in
Yep.
that stage where it's my niece is getting married." Like
Hmm.
my son hasn't really had a wedding yet. He's just been married 3 times. It's weird.
Yeah. Do you want to explain that? I understand, but you're
I don't understand, frankly, myself. No, he got married during the pandemic, so we had a ceremony just with an officiant to get the legal paperwork. Then he did a religious one via Zoom, so his family, his wife's family in Saudi Arabia could watch it via Zoom. And then we did another one via Zoom for his their friends to watch, but my puppet officiated, so they got to watch, do it one, just kind of commitment ceremony. But we have not had a wedding with an event at a venue, or anything. We're talking about maybe doing a 5-year anniversary party, having his family all come from Saudi for a 5-year
nice.
anniversary party in lieu of a wedding, because they got married in the pandemic, so we're coming up on 5 years enough.
Wow. Yeah, it's been a while. It's weird. It is weird. Sarah and I will hit 10 years this year, obviously, because I said I got married right after I turned 30 and about to turn 40.
That's how that math works.
Um, that math does work. My
It does.
parents,
With English degrees, being able to add 10. Woo!
my parents are hitting 42 tomorrow. 42 years married, not 42 years old. But
That would be odd.
yeah,
You're
it's
you're not from the South. You just live here.
yep, yep. So yeah, 42. They're gonna hit 42. It's crazy too. Um,
My
I told
parents,
Logan.
in February, I guess it'll be 64 years.
Oh wow. So they were married a little while before you and your brothers were born.
Well, I was a second child, so,
Yeah, but your older brother's what, 60?
62. Yeah, they were married for like a year before he was born. I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
4 years later.
Oh, I didn't realize there was that big of an age gap between you. I thought there was like two or three.
No, he was born in '63, summer of '63, and I was born fall of '67. So it's almost 4.5.
Gotcha.
And then my younger brother is 3 years younger than me.
Yep.
There's just 7 years
Okay.
between them. And I
Nice.
look the youngest. Alex wouldn't say to them, "I thought you were 42," like he said to me.
Yeah.
We were romantically engaged, Alex and I. And he said, "Oh, you're so good for a 42-year-old." I said, "No, no, no. I got a lot more experience than that, buddy."
Yeah. I'm gonna have to change his little title thing to say suck up to Matthew.
No, I was telling him before we had the record. I was at a Pride festival and I was singing along for all the '80s songs, and then none of the '90s songs. And a woman who was in her early '70s who was volunteering with me was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, 56. She goes, "Oh, no wonder you know all the '80s songs."
Yep.
I did take a look at a TikTok app that makes you bald, and I looked at it. I said, "Ooh, bald does not work as well on me as it does on my brother. My brother looks really good bald. It works. He's been shaving his head for like over 10 years because his hairline was at the point where he might as well, and he wears it much better than I would.
Nice.
But that's why I look younger than him, because I got this beautiful head of hair.
Yep. Um. So speaking of big life events, Do you have any? Do you have anything? I guess the way I was
Do I
looking
have
at
any
it is
left?
also. I mean, grandkids is grandkids is your next thing. If you have grandkids, I'm not trying to put pressure on, especially after you were like, oh yeah, this topic sounded interesting to Leah, and now I'm going to be like grandkids. No, I'm not pushy about that. For anybody.
Oh, help me find you a
No,
boyfriend. Okay.
I don't know anybody. Um, what was I starting to say? Oh, so I kind of, I mean, so I don't know how much you know about the sacraments in
No,
Catholicism.
of course, my brother lives in Sacramento.
Nice. It. Now that you say that, it probably was named after that, huh? Sacramento. But so the sacraments to me also always felt like a little weird because there's so many at the beginning, and it's
Sorry, my screen started getting dark, and I realized the plug came out of the transformer part of my plug, so it wasn't
oh,
charging, and it was almost going to turn off.
that's okay. There was like a noise, and I thought you were like it sounded like, and I thought you were like eating something.
The delicious power cord.
Yeah.
A little bit of the juice.
So
Electricity, electricity. I'm talking about electricity, electricity. Sorry, it's a Gen X thing.
that's okay. So these big events, and I kind of think I kind of still think with that Catholic framework, and so I think of like baptism, like all the sacraments are like real front loaded to that first 20 years of your life, especially when you think about people getting married early and stuff, because
Mm,
marriage is one of the sacraments.
yeah.
And it feels like all of, like there, I mean, I know that we have retirement,
Is that a
we
sacrament?
have, no, I'm just talking about big life things. So like sacraments seem to fit the same kind of like
Yeah, it's for me actually.
milestone.
Obviously I didn't have the sacraments, but my dad raised me to have the sacrileges. So we have all the big sacrileges. First premarital
Nice.
sex, first group sex, first run out that without paying the bill on your sex. All those sacrileges
What was the last one? Running out without paying the bill.
on your sex. Yeah.
Is there a story?
No, no, it's just me saying weird shit. That's what.
Okay. Well, I just want to give you the opportunity for to
No,
give to give Alex some ammo to make some clips here.
no, make the clip. There's no story. It was just a joke. But now you make the clip before I say it's a joke, and let it be. Though, let it be. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
If there was a story, it would be about the group sex one. That's the one that I wish was real. Who cares if I ran out on sex pain?
Yeah.
Those 17
Group.
women ain't gonna just get out of my imagination on their own.
Thank you for that. Um. So, do you speak back to the topic of the episode? Um. Do you think that what was your what was the thing that if you could go back and relive any of those big life moments, what would you pick?
Well, that stripper at my 30th birthday party was pretty hot. Ah, um, that's a good question. I mean, like if it was just relive it as in like I have a time window and I can relive the situation. I'm not changing it. I'm not
Oh,
doing it.
time
I'm
window.
not doing it differently. I'm just like I want to re-experience it again. The kids
Yeah.
being born was huge. I mean, if I could, I don't want to change anything about that, but if I could re-feel the emotions that I felt and be there for it again, that would be amazing.
Yeah. That's what my answer was going to be.
It was like when my kids were born.
Yeah, I remember. It was like a feeling in the force. It was like somebody who's going to be important to me is having
So,
his first
so Jacob was
child.
born in September of '97. So what were you in high school
Thir-
or college?
I had just turned 13.
Middle school. Great.
I was like, somebody who's important to me has just had their first child. And I'm 13, so that's a weird thought.
You're in
Nice.
an episode of The Brady Bunch, and you're Peter Brady, and your voice is cracking during the time to change. And except as our producer Alex said, nobody can hear him. Every time your voice cracks, a baby is born, kind of like in A Wonderful Life.
I thought you said you had never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
I lie a lot.
The doctor lies.
Rule number
Time
one.
window.
Rule number one. Yeah, time window. I guess that was in my head because it was in last week's episode, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did you like the episode?
I did. I've liked all the episodes with Shuti.
I've liked all the episodes. Logan was like, that was the best episode yet, but he's very prone to recency bias, so he has said that every single week.
That's good. That's the best because that means it gets
Yeah.
better and better. Life doesn't let you down. Yeah, that's the best way
that's
to live
true.
life.
I was really hoping that Susan was the Susan, though.
But she still
Especially like
could
when
be. She could be the Susan
she could
who
be, yeah.
is being used by I don't want to just spoil. No spoilers. People may not have watched the episode. Who knows?
But by the time this episode comes out, and the only person watching is Alex on the feed
right now, yeah.
So by the time
I don't know, but my buddy
so it's,
Mikey never misses an episode, and he listens to every episode.
okay.
And he works a lot of hours, so I don't know if he's up to date on the doctor.
Okay, well we won't spoil it for him then.
What's funny though is
But
YouTube is like full of clips from 1980 episode where the same bad guy was. Like saying, here's what he was like in the 1980 episode,
yeah,
and showing hints
yeah,
that here's things that happened in those episodes that were reproduced in the last couple of episodes of Doctor Who, and if you caught them, you could have guessed who the bad guy was. There have been
nice.
some homages to the original episodes.
Yeah, I am excited to see how this plays out. Especially like I had the feeling that it was a previous bad guy from the old series, but and then I looked it up after the episode was over. But prior to that, when I just had the feeling, I was like, oh, it kind of feels a lot like Zool.
Yeah.
Like a little bit when they first showed. Felt like, oh,
there's a lot of the Doctor only like barely managed to survive in the original one, and only won by destroying an artifact that the bad guy was using. So like if that artifact doesn't exist, like he didn't outthink, didn't out overpower, just was able to destroy a tool, like close the gateway kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited. I also want to see who the mother is. Although I will say that I was getting very choked up watching this episode with Ruby's adopted mom talking to her, being like, I took care of her, and I was just like, oh my god, she's such a good mom.
Especially when they did the episode where she wasn't a good mom. You see what she would have been without Ruby.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that has nothing to do with today's topic, which is
Doctor Who is all I have
left
to look forward to. Yeah. I will say, okay, so here's a thing that I experienced that most people won't count, but I would think of, and so recently I went to see Star Wars: The Phantom Menace in theaters with Logan and Sarah, which was awesome because that was the first Star Wars movie I ever got to see in theaters because nobody would take me to see the re-release in the 90s of the original trilogy. I still, yeah, well, I was 12 or 13 when those came out, so
nothing wrong with it.
Would have been problematic.
Phantom Menace is that Jacob wasn't old enough to see it. Jacob and Joseph were too young to see it. They were like 1 and 2.
Yeah. Phantom Menace, I think holds up better than people want to believe, but I like it. I think there are some issues with it. When I watched the re-release last month, the film looks like not great, like the actual, but that's an aesthetic.
Was it even film? I thought it was pure digital. Wasn't it pure digital?
No, it's the last one that wasn't digital. Just like there was some stuff with Yoda where Yoda was still puppet form in that one, and then on Attack of the Clones, they were like, nope, we're pure digital now. So, yeah, but so it was. Yeah, there's some parts where I'm like, just from a film perspective, like there is
The more input
a
George Lucas has, the worse it's going to be.
yeah.
That's a law of Star Wars.
Well, when it comes to dialogue and acting,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
saying the more input
When
he
it
has,
when it
like when it's just like the
but
overall story arc
yeah,
and concept, that's enough. Let him give more
yep,
input, it gets worse.
yeah. Because I do think that the prequel trilogy worked a lot better structurally than the new trilogy. But the acting and the dialogue is better in the new
Yeah,
trilogy
but I think he
with
also
more
had
structure.
he didn't have any input in the trilogy. I feel like, so it's
That's true.
zero. You
Yeah,
need some level of Lucas.
yeah. Or Filoni.
Well, I would love some more Filoni
Filoni,
now. I'm so hungry, or a big bowl of Orphaloni.
fried Filoni. Nice. Um, so that was a big deal for me. Seeing certain movies in theaters
Yeah,
has
I
been
did
like
that a couple of years ago, pre-pandemic, with The Godfather was re-released in the theaters, and I took Jacob to see it in the theaters.
I was just about to say The Godfather. Seeing that the first time
Yeah,
I got to see that in theaters was
yeah.
really
Because again,
cool.
I was 5 when it came out, so I certainly didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah, I would love to see the original Star Wars. I'd love to see the original or the original Star Wars trilogy, the original Indiana Jones trilogy, the other Godfather, the second Godfather,
Hmm.
not Godfather 3. I don't care about seeing that
We
in
we we
theaters.
discussed that one together.
Yeah. Um, Logan and I were grabbing some stuff today at the store, and they were playing a song from my favorite movie of all time. Do you remember what it is?
Uh,
The song was REM, if that helps.
Man on the Moon.
Yeah. So they were playing the Man on the Moon song, and I was like, "Oh, this is from my favorite movie." And Logan goes, "Is this from The Godfather?" No, he goes, "No, the other one." And I was like, "Yep." So I need to watch that again too. And I've never seen that one in theaters because I saw it when it came out on DVD, but I wasn't allowed. I wasn't old enough to go
Hmm.
see a rated R movie in theaters when it came out. And my parents, I don't think if they had known what was in that movie that I would have gotten to go see it or rent
Yeah,
it. But I think they were like, "It's a Jim Carrey movie. It'll be a little gross." And
he
then
takes
it's
a
like,
bunch of
"Oh,
people out for cookies. How bad can it be? Is that in the movie?
well, there's the
I
whole
don't know if that's
hooker.
in the movie.
There's the brothel scene where he wrestles the escorts."
Uh,
But yeah,
when I was that age, my mother
okay,
used to take me to a brothel. So, on you.
he does take them out for cookies, milk and cookies. That whole
That's
performance is
brilliant.
in there, and one of the fun facts about that scene in the movie is you get the scene where they're doing the things like one of the original Buffalo girls or whatever it was is here tonight, the last living original Buffalo girl, show us the dance. And then as she does the dance, he speeds up the music and speeds up the music, so she's dancing faster and faster, and then she collapses. His brother comes up on stage as a doctor, which I don't remember if his brother is a doctor or if he's just pretending to be a doctor, and he like pronounces that she's dead, and then Andy does like a shaman
Ritual.
ritual over her, and she and with a napkin over her face, and she starts to rise and sits back up, and she's alive, and it's like part of the act. In the movie, it's great. I've read that it wasn't actually the woman, it wasn't even actually a woman that did that, but it was Robin Williams, who at that point in time was not particularly famous yet. I mean, he's famous, but he wasn't Robin Williams famous yet. And so it was him dressed up as
This
a
is
woman,
Sapphire Part 1.
uh, yeah, doing the act, which is awesome too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of parts in that movie where there's people, and if you look up who it was in real life, it's like bigger than like what they gave it for billing. Like Norm Macdonald is in that movie in the scene where they are on the Friday show. Like it's not
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live, it's
I used to
Fridays
watch
or
it.
something.
That's where Bill Nye came
And
from. Bill
and
Nye was on that. Before he
oh,
was
I
the
didn't know
science
that.
guy, he was
And
on Fridays.
yeah, and Norm just plays
Hey,
this guy who
okay, at me. Make comments if I'm wrong. It may have been a different show. It was a show. If it wasn't Fridays, it was a show just like it.
okay. Norm Macdonald plays a guy that he has a few lines, and he gets into it with Jim Carrey, but or with Andy Kaufman, but they don't ever say what his name is. He's just in the scene, and it's supposed to be like they pretend like it's a stage fight, and you never know if it is actually staged or they're just covering their asses on it. And when you look it up, are you looking up who it is?
No.
It's Michael Richards. It's
Kramer,
Kramer.
yeah.
It was Kramer. Yeah. And they never ever mention, like, it doesn't say Michael. They don't say anything to like let you know. It's just Norm Macdonald sitting there, and Norm Macdonald wasn't crazy famous. He had been on SNL and stuff, but a lot of his stuff came along
So
later too.
here's one of my cool Andy Kaufman moment, which was just watching him on TV, but I was watching on either Caroline's or Night at the Improv, one of the late night shows that was filmed at one of the comedy clubs in New York, and they just late night watch stand up. It had the Bob Zamuda being the audience member who was heckling him, and then pulls out the wire and says, "I'm on a wire. I'm not even really heckling him. I'm part of the act. That's how shitty he is." And like throws it down and goes out, and the audience doesn't know what to do, and like they have this huge blowout argument. And of course, it's Bob Zamuda, so it was all stage. I saw that on TV, but I didn't know who the and he's I didn't know who he was. Like I didn't know, like it was just weirdest thing I ever saw on a comedy show on TV back when it
Yeah,
was fresh.
that's one of my favorite scenes from the movie is when Danny DeVito comes to see him to see him for that first meeting, and Bob's in the audience, and he's Tony Clifton, and he's doing the lounge thing, and he's it looks like you sat in some cottage cheese. All right, that's your ass. And he's doing that to everybody, and he's working the crowd. And then when he gets up to Paul Giamatti, and he's like, "What's your name, Bob? Bob what? Up and down in the water for apples?" And then he's like, "Gorski." Oh, Gorski. Is that a Polish joke? Those dumb Polacks have had it bad enough without you making Polish jokes. Then he dumps his water on him and goes, "You're all wet." And it's one of my favorite scenes. Sarah and I always go, "You are all wet," to each other. Not sexually. I realized that sounded sexual.
I picture you.
Because
No, honey, you're all wet. This is so hot.
Oh, if she did the Tony Clifton voice during.
I was assuming you would do it to her because you would never would have. What do you?
No, we're both
Shapiro,
Tony
Ben
Clifton.
Shapiro. You don't know about when gets wet.
So anyway, that's one of my favorites. And then Logan watched the movie with us like 6 months to a year ago, and then for a little while he was going, "You are all wet," with us.
It's always fun when your kids get old enough, and you'll be having it. For years you'll have this experience to get the references that have been said in your house forever. And they finally.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny. One of my favorite memories of it is not even mine. It's a friend of mine who when he was like 3, he used to bang like a cane or whatever on the ground, like to bang it. And his parents used to go, "Are you calling the worms? Are you calling the worms?" And he'd be like, "I'm calling the worms. I'm calling the worms." And then when he was like 20, he saw Dune, and for the first time knew what his parents had been saying his whole life.
Nice. Yeah. That's one of my favorite things right now too is watching stuff with Logan, like exposing him to like we
Alex,
watched.
mark that. He's exposing Logan.
Oh, we just dropped a viewer
Sure
for
we
a second.
did.
Like we showed him The Princess Bride 3 weeks ago, and that was amazing because he did not want to watch the movie. We picked like 4 different movies. We're like, "You'd like this one, you'd like this one," and he just kept saying no to everything. And then finally, I was like, "We're just gonna make him watch The Princess Bride." Sarah's been wanting to watch it again for years, and we haven't watched it in like 3 or 4 years. I think we watched it maybe at the beginning of COVID, and Logan didn't remember. But so we put it on, and we showed him the trailer, and he's like, "Eh."
It's a kissing
And then
movie.
and I'm like, we're watching the movie, and we're at a part where Fred Savage kind of interrupts, and Logan goes, "I think he doesn't want to admit that he does want to listen to the story." And I was like, "Oh, you think he does? Is that what you think is going on?"
He's the perfect surrogate.
Yeah. I was like, it's exactly what you're going through. That's why he's so awesome. Like why the character is such a good part of it. Then after we finished, he was like really hooked on it. He loved it. And after it finished, I Sarah was like sound asleep on the couch, and I pulled up. You can't watch. I can't find it anywhere, but I could find the trailer. So we watched the trailer for Once Upon a Deadpool, because I tried showing him Once Upon a Deadpool a couple of years ago because he was
Hmm.
obsessed with Deadpool. I'm like, it's the only version you can watch, and he was bored by it. But I'm like, maybe he would like it now. And he watched the trailer. He's like, oh,
The
that's
Fred
amazing.
Savage version. Nice.
Yeah.
It comes a sad time when you say to your son, "Hey, son, there's a cool movie from X point of my childhood we should watch," and he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, I've seen it." Oh, what
Hmm.
happened? Huh?
Or it's happened. It hasn't entirely happened to me. What happened to me was I spent all summer last year being like, "Do you want to watch Jaws? I'd love to watch Jaws. I haven't seen Jaws in several years." And Logan being like, "That's a horror movie for the summer. I don't want to watch that.
The
We're not. I
opening
don't want to
scene is
watch that."
Bush.
And I'm like,
Yeah, the
"Is it?
girl's skinny dipping, and the camera comes right up, and you can see her pubic hair. Yeah, it's the
Oh, I
open.
did not remember
It's
that
the
part."
cover of the book.
Oh, so anyway, I was like, come on, I want to watch it, and he was like, no, it'll make me scared to go in the oceans. And I'm like, you go into your ankles, like we're not
Shark
in,
infested
you know,
waters.
this is not a concern for us. And then my father-in-law takes him and my two nephews for like 3 or 4 days last at the end of like the summer last year, and we go pick them up, and we're like, what'd you guys do? And they're like, we watched all the Jaws movies. I'm like, you watched all the Jaws movies? And then every once in a while I'll say to Sarah or Logan, hey, maybe next time you go hang out with Papa, he'll show you The Godfather. Or
One of my other favorite movies. Yeah, so here's the great version of this was Doctor Who has a spin-off called Torchwood, right? And the British version
yeah,
is it's a little more serious than Doctor Who. Um, then there's an American season that was on Showtime that is, softcore porn in some of the scenes, and it's very serious. And
yeah.
Jacob comes to me when he's like 15 or 16, and he goes, "Hey, I watched on Netflix the British Torchwood. Can I watch the US one?" And I say, Jacob, you're mature, but that one's got a lot of mature themes. I don't know if you're old enough to watch that just yet. And he goes, "Oh, would now be a good time to tell you I've Bitstream downloaded the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones and watched them?" I said, "I guess you can watch Torchwood and stop illegally downloading movies. I'll get you HBO."
Nice.
It's a problem when your kid is smart. They do things you don't know they're doing.
Oh yeah, yeah. I really do feel like having a dumb kid would be easier in the short term. In the long term, like your kid is self
Yeah.
sufficient,
Yeah.
and you know, but like ultimately, yeah, a child who is
Yeah.
smart is
People used to always say how scared they were of Jacob. Like Elliot, Jacob's godfather, used to always say, "I'm afraid you're going to either save the world or destroy it one day. Like you have the ability to do either."
yeah. All right. Any other thing? Back to the topic. I mean, we haven't completely
No, I know.
strayed.
Some of the those big moments for me, those parenting moments, and how they go. Those are
Yeah.
huge.
No, genuinely, like for me.
The reason you have the kids is for those
Yeah. I
moments.
mean,
You don't know it when you first have them, but then you find out it's those little moments like seeing this movie with them, or seeing that, or someone
yeah.
like Joseph being the world's biggest Mel Brooks fan is such a thrill for me. Like there's nothing better than Joseph quoting a Mel Brooks movie in public and then giving me a sly look, knowing that nobody else got the reference except me. Love that.
The same night that we got him to watch Princess Bride. I was trying to get him to watch Robin Hood Men
I
in
love that.
Tights, and I was like, Princess Bride is the opening. They're not the same movie, but I was like, he's gonna see that it's the same guy
Yeah.
and be like, okay, I'm in. Yeah, and we had just watched. Carrie Always was in some. Oh, he was in the. Did you watch the Knuckles show at all?
Oh
Sonic and
no. I mean, I'm
Knuckles.
familiar with the characters because I had a Genesis, but no.
Yeah, yeah. So we watched the Knuckles TV show because Logan's seen both Sonic movies, and the Knuckles show came out, and um, the Adam Pally or Adam Pauly character that is like on the road trip with Knuckles, and he's kind of like a doofus character. His father is Carrie Elways, who is like the bowling champ of some Reno, Nevada bowling tournament every year, and he's dressed in like almost like the King of England for bowling, and it was so funny. And then that might have been why Sarah was like, "We should watch Princess Bride soon."
Very cool.
Yeah. I do want to like talk a little bit longer because last week's edit, I was like, "Oh shit! If I cut anything out of this, we're not going to have a full episode."
Orgy out.
Yeah. Oh, gross, gross. Alex.
Mark it, Alex. Mark it. That one's going out until his parents can see it on the YouTubes, on the Instagrams, on the Tickety Talks, the podcaster, Mr. Funny Podcaster Boy.
Okay, I was just making a quick edit to your job
thank
title.
you. I'm a disgusting man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Still hasn't updated on the live stream yet, though. But so I don't got anything else.
No, I was gonna say, as an old man, I will say that there's always more big events. You just don't always know which are the big ones. I think the real key is you don't like. Did you know when your employment agency said, "Hey, there's this French company that wants someone to edit some stuff for a couple of months," that would lead to a podcast partner, business partner, friend relationship for a decade.
No, you're right.
Like
You're right.
I did a improv show at my company, but out in the manufacturing plant, right? Fine. We go out there and do an improv show like it was like, laugh at work kind of thing. And we asked for an audience volunteer. And this schmo comes up and he happens to have a Captain America earring, in his ear a little. And it turns out this guy, he had been working there for a year and a half, whatever, as a contractor, and had just gotten hired permanently. And contractors don't get to go to those events, so it's like this moment for him. If I get to go to the entertainment thing that usually we don't get to go to, all my old buddies are not going, and then he volunteers out of the audience, and he is Leah's godfather now. Like he ended up. We said we do workshops. He told his wife, and she goes, "Oh, you should do the workshops." And it's like I commented on his earring, and and I don't know if I was wearing a Batman earring at the time when he was wearing Captain America, or I just mentioned I had one or whatever. But we had a connection. I used to have pierced ear. It
Do you
grew over
have
when I
pierced
moved
ears?
houses. I like my earrings were all packed up, and like 6 months later, I go, "Oh, earring! Ow, ow, ow!" And the hole had grown over. I never got it re-pierced. Um, but yeah, but I'm like, who knew that taking an audience volunteer was going to be my best friend for the next 20 years?
Yeah, yeah.
And our most loyal listener.
It's true.
Because I'll get a text every Tuesday saying a random thing about the episode, and I have to go, what the hell did I say that he's referring? So let's read it. We should make this a tradition. Let me read what he texted me. I don't know if I can do the whole thing, but he has thoughts on the latest episode. Back in the late 80s, Deb worked as a stockroom manager at Rose's store on New Bern Avenue. One day, the store manager gave Deb a bunch of Sharpies and told her to take the stockroom crew out to the mini blind section. There, they had to take the black mini blinds and mark out the word. I'm going to stop reading there because it gets potentially offensive. But I have no idea what story we were talking about that made this story occur to him and said, no, actually, it was they had to mark out the word negro on it in Spanish. It said black, and someone was offended that it said negro on all the black blinds, so they had to cross it off because a customer was offended. And so, and I don't know what we were. I don't know which episode he was listening to.
Oh, I know, because we talked about we randomly started talking about the N word.
Oh, the end game in my club.
Yeah, the end game, and how Chris Darden was the reason why we say the N word, and then I said, but like you get that there's a etymology there where it has, and then we mentioned negro as like the Spanish
Yeah, well, there you go. So
word
like
for black.
every week I get a text like that from Mikey, and I have to go back and try to figure out like if it was a core part of the conversation, I usually get it, but half the time like if it was just one of our one-offs, I had to figure out what is Mikey listening to?
Well,
Yeah.
I also edit. So like it's more fresh in my mind because I'm like,
To go
oh,
back
should
to
I
your other one,
leave this in?
your anger episode reminded me of our last show at Interact and the contract BS they pulled. You were so angry. Romney was so angry. Laura was so angry. Everyone was angry except me, and that seemed to bother everyone as much as everything else. So I love him. Hi, Mikey. I love Mikey's message. And like, if I go back into May, there's another one. Your spiel about knowing some, like, I half my text conversations with Mikey now are him responding to an episode, and I'm always like, "You need to come on the damn show." He's like, "I don't know what the hell am I going to talk about? What am I an expert in?" I'm like a billion different things one day.
Yeah, someday that'd be good. Or you could have him on exit
Yeah,
interviews. I bet you
he
he's a
is
great
the
improver,
best.
right?
One of my favorite stories.
So
We
I'm
once
sure it
went,
would be.
both signed up to audition for this was commercial or short film or something like that and it was at like a video like marketing agency, and they randomly assigned us partners, whatever. And so we both show up there. I do a scene with my partner. I come out. I'm gonna hang out and wait for him. It's downtown Raleigh. We'll go out for lunch, whatever. And while waiting, they say, "Mr. West," and he's like, "Yeah," and they go, "Your scene partner didn't show up. I'm sorry, there's no partner for you." And they said, "Oh, Mr. Cravat, you're still here. Would you want to do a scene with Mr. West?" And I'm like, I don't know, sir. Do you want me to do a scene with you?" And he's like, "If you don't mind, that would be great." I'm like, I guess so. We walk in and we fucking killed it. I mean, first of all, I got more ideas now because I've run through the scenario ones. But Mikey and I have been performing together for years at this point. Like we're like one brain. It was so good. We were so good. And then like two 20-year-olds got the gig. Like, oh, I bet they took our shit and wrote the script based on what we improvised. I bet we just wrote the script for them.
Yeah,
But it was a great moment.
yeah,
Like of them people being just totally, oh my God, these guys are amazing. It's like what happens when you share a mind. But really, say his first
yeah.
introduction to improv was that day that he volunteered. Like he learned all his improv, you know, with my group, originally from my partner and then from me, and then from his own innate talent just bubbling forth. Once you get to that point where you can self-teach because your energies are just flowing.
Nice.
I killed some more time. You got some
All
stuff
right.
there. Like I said, you never know when that next
Yeah.
big thing is going to the next person you're going to meet, like the next woman you're going to meet, who's the affair you're going to have that makes your marriage spiced up again. Usually happens around
Yeah.
40.
We just role play instead. There's no affairs going to be happening. Not on this end. Sarah has permission as long as it's a woman or a guy that I think is
That's why
attractive.
when Madhavi and I were first married, she used to say that she would have a threesome with a woman that she found attractive. And then I'd be like, "Are there any women you've ever found attractive?" And she's like, "No." Until we saw Tia Carrera in Wayne's World, she nudged me and she goes, her I would do. So we unfortunately
Yeah.
never met her in real life.
If you go to Hawaii, she is filming Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake. She's not playing the same character. She's not playing the same character, but yeah. All right, so let's wrap things up.
I mean,
You
do you
want to
want me to
start?
talk
Because
about those people who are watching us in the live stream right now on YouTube and are so engrossed that they forgot to hit the like button? So don't forget, hit the like button. Go ahead and make a comment down below just to say, I can't believe I forgot and hit the like button. Oh, Matthew, Bill Nye wasn't on Fridays with Michael Richards. He was on some other shitty show, Imitation of Silent Life. I think it was Fridays. I really think it was, but maybe it was something else. And then go over to our channel and subscribe to the channel. I mean, why not? Why not? Couldn't wait. You know what? Hit the notifications button. And if you're on your phone, it's going to tell you don't forget to turn notifications on your phone. I don't really care if you do or not. Just hit the damn bell. That's all I'm asking, right? Um, and then that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for your firstborn. I'm not asking for money. I mean, only a crass pig would ask for money. I'm just saying, like the video. Back to you, Mike.
Yes, so I was looking up the. It looks like he was on Almost Live.
One of those shows. Some Saturday Night Live ripoff.
Yeah. So anyway, so if you are enjoying the show, and you're listening to us, make sure that you go on to whatever podcast app you're using and give us their equivalent of a like or a follow, a follow and a subscribe. Um, give us a good rating if they've got a 5-star rating. Give us that, please. Reviews help too. That's also great. If you want to
Well,
get
you can
these
get 'em
shows
early?
early, you can do that.
That is worth
You
so
can get
much
them
to me.
early. That is it worth a whole $1?
What a
'Cause that's all
bargain.
it costs. Yeah. So it's $1 through Apple Podcasts if you just subscribe on there. Or if you don't want to use Apple's podcast program, you can use patreon.com/talking about the big stuff. We have that $1 option that will get you the episodes 4 days early. If you wanted to do more than that, get some extra bonus content, $3 gets you what I like to call the most of the show. Like, and then the 10 or not the most. It gets you most of the show, like most of the stuff uncensored. And then $10 you get just that little bit extra where I gotta blur Matthew out or
The reason it
because he's
says
doing something
disgusting man,
obscene,
if
or
you
I
can see
gotta
the video right now, because I said stuff he didn't like about his
yeah,
knuckles and his mom.
yep, yep. All right. That's at least it's good clean cut that I can make from that comment. Uh, so yeah, if you want to go on there. And speaking of our
Our
$10
what?
patronage,
Were we
we
speaking of
have a
that?
$10 patron that got added this week. Well, I was saying that's what all
Oh
the
my
stuff
God.
was
The
$10
patrons get
patrons
all the
for $10.
porn? Like, even this? They could see
Yeah,
this?
all the porn, even
Oh,
even this. So I want to give a shout out and a thank you to our.
I'm eating your colon.
Oh my God, Matthew! Want to give a shout out and a thank you to Jeff, our newest patron. We appreciate your patronage
Jeff's going to
and thank you
unfriend me on
very
Facebook
much.
now because he saw me eat a colon.
Do you think so? Cool. All right. So
I just
Matthew,
want
you
to
got
say
anything?
thanks to Jeff and thanks to everybody who came by to talk about the big stuff. I know it's the high point of your life.
The preceding podcast has been a Chocolate Diamond Media LLC production. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.